Dear caregiver, sometimes you need to lie. When we're dealing with people who have cognitive issues, dementia, Alzheimer's, stuff like that, I think we get in the habit of reorienting them, redirecting them over and over to the point where a lot of people don't see when it's no longer working. Let me give you an example. The very first assisted living facility that I ever worked at, it was my very first day, and I'm shadowing. We go into this woman's apartment, we'll call her Margaret, and the person I'm shadowing is like, okay, Margaret, it's time for dinner. And she says, oh, I don't want to eat without John. I'm going to wait for John. And she says, oh, sweetie, John's dead. And the woman, I could see her go through the first stages of grief as if she's hearing it for the very first time. She has Alzheimer's. So now Margaret's so upset that she refuses to come. We bring her a tray. She doesn't eat. I take the tray back and tell my preceptor that she didn't eat anything. And she's like, yeah, she never does. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, she never eats. Like, this happens like every night. I could not believe what I was hearing. You mean every single night you make this woman lose her husband all over again? What kind of evil shit is this? But I didn't say that out loud. I just said, oh my God, that's terrible. Next day, my second day on the job, stopped my preceptor at her door. I said, let me just try something. Please, 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 please. And she said, sure, go right ahead. So we went into her room and I said, hey, Margaret, it's time for dinner. And she said, oh, I really don't like to eat dinner without John. I'm going to wait for John. I said, oh, honey, John told me to tell you he had to go to work. He wants us to go eat and he'll meet you later. And she said, oh, he did? Oh, and got her happy behind up, walked with me down to the dining room and ate her dinner. Didn't say another word about John for the rest of the night. And my preceptor just looked at me. Said, let's do this from now on. Let's do it this way. Sometimes you got to lie. Why? Because peace is the goal. Peace is the goal, which means you do whatever you got to do to get to the peace. When do we know reorienting is no longer effective? If it is escalating their negative emotions, if it's causing them anxiety, if it makes them really angry to hear the truth, if they're digging their heels into their own version of reality, find a lie. Find a lie that brings them some peace. And you too. For more caregiver tips, subscribe.